The disturbing world of house clearances may often go unnoticed by the general public, but one aspect of grime fighting that directly affects us all is the diligent work of the restaurant inspectors, constantly striving to uphold high standards of hygiene in all of the country's thousands of food outlets and restaurants. Here in Wolverhampton, John and Faye are about to make an unannounced visit to one of the city's many takeaways.
So we're now going to be doing a routine food hygiene inspection, a fish and chip shop, and hopefully we'll find that everything's good at this premises. My name's Jonathan, and this is my colleague Faye. We're here today to do a routine food hygiene inspection. Okay. And is it okay to come and have a chat? Yep.
After gaining entry, their first stop is always the hand basin in the kitchens, a good test of the overall attitude towards cleanliness.
The wash hand basin was bone dry when I came in, so it clearly hasn't been used, and there's also no soap. So I was just asking the food handler how he washes his hands, and apparently they go upstairs to a wash hand basin every time. I'm not inclined to believe them.
Faye isn't convinced about the upstairs facilities. She wants to see for herself.
Does hot water come out of that? Only cold? Okay. So if you do wash your hands, you wash it in this sink, and you've only got cold water to wash your hands? Yeah. Okay. You're not washing your hands very well then, are you?
Back down in the kitchens, the main sink and food prep areas are causing concern.
The law requires that food surfaces are easily cleanable and in good condition, and this isn't.
But under closer inspection, the state of the basins are put on hold as Faye makes an alarming discovery.
Rat droppings, I think. I think I've found rat droppings. No.
Finding evidence of rats in any restaurant is as serious as it gets. If further investigations prove there's an infestation, John and Faye will have no alternative but to close the takeaway down immediately. In Wolverhampton, restaurant inspectors John and Faye are continuing their surprise inspection of a local takeaway. They've quickly found evidence of rats on the premises, with the discovery of droppings under the food prep area.
Having either mice or a rat infestation is one of the most serious things that can occur within a food business. They carry a whole host of bacteria, and they indiscriminately wee and poo everywhere. And if they've contaminated work surfaces or food, then the food that they've been selling to customers is not safe, and so it's serious.
Standard procedure dictates that Faye now needs to establish whether the droppings are hard or soft to confirm the age of the infestation. And now there are further questions on the general cleanliness of the restaurant.
The rat droppings here are hard, which would indicate that they've been here for some time, but also they've not cleaned properly.
Faye and John need to assess quickly the real extent of the problem. As they investigate further, the lack of hygiene is obvious.
This is shocking in here. I mean, this room is being used as your potato preparation room, and the condition of it is poor. You've got bare plaster, you've got bare floor, broken tiles, bare ceiling, and also you've got a massive great gap around the door and under the door.
John has seen bait boxes in the premises, but with rat droppings in the backyard and the lack of proofing, he is, to say the least, concerned.
They're aware of the problem. Now surely if they're aware of a problem out here, they would try their utmost to prevent them getting in. They haven't done that, which is obviously really frustrating.
John and Faye now set about a thorough search of the whole restaurant for evidence. Behind nearly every freezer, cooker and work surface, they find hundreds of droppings, often accompanied by smear marks left by the rat's oily fur. It's now time to confront the owner about his knowledge of the infestation.
Do you know what a rat dropping looks like? No.
If you don't know what a rat dropping looks like, how are you checking to make sure that you've got none in here? You haven't been.
John and Faye have heard enough. They decide to close the restaurant. So they call their boss Steve to come down and verify their decision. While they wait for Steve, Faye breaks the bad news to the owner.
The fact of the matter is that you are likely to be shut tonight, and you won't be opened until the problem has gone.
The owner has no option but to wait to learn of his potential fate. At the takeaway in Wolverhampton, restaurant inspectors John and Faye have been joined by their boss Steve. After a detailed inspection, he makes his decision.
To protect the public health, I think the decision's got to be a formal closure.
This ruling is always difficult for the inspectors because it could ruin the business.
The decision to actually formally close premises is done in the public health interest. It's not a decision that we take lightly.
Complying with the law, Faye now displays a notice of closure in the window of the restaurant. It's up to the owners to sort out all the problems and to satisfy the inspectors that their restaurant is fit for purpose. Then, and only then, will it be allowed to reopen. For the clean-up teams up and down the country, the daily cleansing of our urban streets is relentless. But when thousands of sports fans descend on a city, the rubbish they leave behind is a nightmare. In Cardiff, the Millennium Stadium and the city centre are playing host to over 300,000 rugby fans here for the Six Nations decider between Wales and Ireland. The atmosphere is exuberant, fueled by an insatiable appetite for beer and fast food. But the result in the next 12 hours will be up to 8 tons of rubbish covering the city centre. For Council Supervisor Dave, the battle begins when the match kicks off and the majority of the fans are off the streets.
We're trying to clean the main arteries of the city centre because the Millennium Stadium is in the city centre, so it's a very compact area. So we need to clean this area here and in front of the stadium, but we've only got a small window of opportunity to do that, while there's 75,000 people in the stadium and the rest of them in the public houses in the area. We need to be in and out before the game finishes.
The clean-up teams have got their work cut out to get to grips with this first wave of rubbish in a matter of an hour and a half.
What we're doing now, though, is basically keeping a lid on the rubbish and the litter that is generated throughout the day, because tomorrow morning we'll be in for 4:30, and then that will really be the business end of the clean-up, because when you come out in the morning, this whole area will be obliterated with litter. You will not be able to see the road surface at all, I guarantee it.
So far, Dave and his team are successfully dealing with their first challenge. Now, with the whistle blown, to Welsh despair and Ireland's triumph, the fans spill out in their thousands onto Cardiff's streets. With no chance till 5:30 tomorrow morning to start the big clean, Dave can only wonder what state the city centre will be in at sunrise.